Welcome to Appetite for Production. We're here to chew bubblegum and talk shit about plugins, and we're all out of bubblegum.
That's right, Rowdy Roddy Piper. Who are we before we go any further?
Oh God, I don't know anymore. Man.
Okay, I know, mate. One of those fortnights. Let me spell it out for you, James Russell. You're James Russell.
Oh, really?
You're a music tech journo. I'm Tim Can. Basically the same thing.
Excellent.
And we're going to cast our eye over possibly not that much music tech news, but certainly some.
There's plenty of music tech news. There are plugins. There is a big new release of Loop Cloud. There is even a book that we might talk about, but we'll get to that later.
A book? A book, let me get this straight, that's something where you swipe the pages to make them turn, is that right?
Yeah, you swipe left to turn the page.
Okay, wicked, got it. Okay, let's do this then.
Let's get the hell on with it. Tim, something massive has happened to you.
Yeah, it's quite big.
Yeah, you have managed finally to go to America.
Yeah, I went to America on the company dime.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the dream or whatever. It seems like everyone gets to go to America in a work-related capacity. Never Timmy. Until now, it's finally happened.
Yeah, so what were you there for, officially speaking?
I was there to do a Future Music Steinberg studio session with a kind of ambient noise artist.
Oh, brilliant.
And soundtrack guy called Daru.
Uh-huh.
Not Darude, unfortunately, of Sandstorm fame, but, still pretty good. And it was in LA, would you believe, James? Which I don't know if you know this, is a large city in America.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
I believe it's Spanish for a whale's vagina.
Yeah, that's right. You got to stop nicking those Ron Burgundy quotes. Actually, while I was in the hotel, I saw Talladega Nights on TV as well, and I remembered how much I enjoyed that. And I managed to blag a little bit of extra time as well, a little bit of Timmy time, so that I could check out the city, because I'd never been to the west coast of America before.
So tell me about your American jaunt.
Okay,
I'm going to just sip and sip on this whiskey.
Yeah, very appropriate. I'll talk about the shoot first to make it sound like I care about the music tech stuff, right? So it's a Cubase thing, as it is, always with the Steinberg studio session, and the guy Daru has this technique that he demonstrated, which is apparently a bit like this. Have you heard of this, like, spectral sort of composition stuff?
Spectral composition? I don't think so.
Well, so it's like, the deal is you're recreating the spectral quality of other sounds using an orchestra.
Okay.
Now, this seems to me to have an inherent flaw. I mean, I'm not saying that I know better than all, like, classical and, clever music and that or whatever, but obviously orchestral instruments have got rather a lot of harmonics getting in the mix there. I mean, I haven't actually heard any of this music, so it's a little bit rich of me to judge it, but it doesn't sound like a very good idea.
If only there was a way to reduce certain frequencies
mate.
of the audio spectrum.
Oh, mate. Do you know what? Filters, mate. They're amazing.
Okay.
Anyway,
some new software.
They've just come out with them. Yeah, it's going to be big. So what this guy was showing off was he was recording something, like he's playing a chord on the piano. Basically, he was turning the audio into MIDI data or whatever. He was spectrally analyzing it. He was I think he was doing it with some of Cubase's audio to MIDI stuff. I haven't reviewed the footage, and this feels like a long time ago now. And then he was using that data. So he was triggering it. So it was like additive synthesis via MIDI, so you were building up the sound actually in the MIDI grid editor, and then he was using that data to trigger UVI Falcon. Are you aware of this?
Yeah, it's popular.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I'd never seen anyone use it before, so I was quite interested. It looks pretty cool. It looks like a kind of maybe more involved, take on Kontakt, maybe midway between a Kontakt and an Omnisphere, one might say. So he was triggering some sine waves and morphing into squares in that. And yeah, it was kind of interesting. And yeah, check out the video when it drops in a few weeks or whatever, if you're interested in the sound of that. Anyway,
so well, that sounds like an interesting take on doing things. And I imagine if you could eventually get an actual orchestra to sort of re-synthesize stuff like that, that'd also be cool.
Well, this is apparently a whole discipline. So there's stuff out there. There people did, like, he had books on this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's, he had the most books, like, sound design, classical composition, all that stuff. He had the most books on music I've ever seen, mate. It was ridiculous. So he's clearly very into this stuff.
Do these books appear on the video?
You won't be able to see the books in the video, unfortunately.
Are they e-books, Tim?
No, they were real books,
Okay.
mate. Real hard, well, not even hardbacks, but, big chunky books. So he's clearly very into it, and he had a quite tasty modular setup as well, and, just general fanciness. So anyway, that was all out of the way, right? So
Okay.
obviously...
Let's get to what you really want to talk about.
Okay, so did you know that weed is legal in LA, James?
I do.
Okay. On an unrelated note, I was at a dispensary, right? And I was just, I just thought I'd go and check it out and everything. And I was talking to the woman there, and she was asking me what I was doing in the country, because obviously I'm not American. And I was like, I'm doing this video on this music producer. And do you know what, mate? She was reading the flipping Ableton How to Make Music book.
No way.
Yeah, man. And she was like, oh, yeah, I make pop music and all this sort of stuff and everything. I was like, oh, really? Are you on like SoundCloud or Bandcamp? She's like, no, I'm on Spotify. And I was like, oh, that's cool or whatever. So, and she seemed very nice and everything. So I checked out one of her Spotify pages afterwards or whatever. And her top track had something like 330,000 listens, mate. So I was like, oh my God, this is serious shit, basically. People aren't playing around. And it made me very glad I didn't give her my Spotify page, which has a very minuscule fraction of those kind of plays.
I guess, like I've always been saying, if you want to be successful in music, all you need to do is doss around at a weed shop.
Well, yeah, it turns out it's true. And I guess being in a massive sort of entertainment hub or whatever doesn't hurt either. And then I wanted to look up her name and to give her a shout out. Well, she seems to have two Spotify pages for some reason, Avalon and Avalon Lurks. Check out tunes. When I was researching that, I found out she's featured on a track on the most recent Tricky album as well, would you believe? So it's like, that immediately, that set the tone for things to come or whatever. So anyway, I wanted to have a bit of a look around, as you do. It turns out you can't walk to places in LA.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because I'd heard it, I ignored it. I was like, mate, I'll walk around. I don't need a car. I am better than everyone else. It turns out within 90 minutes, your brain will be fried from the sunshine.
Okay.
So I ended up having to bite the bullet and
Kill
invest
yourself.
in some
Shoot yourself in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, with a shotgun. No, I didn't do that. It was a close thing though, mate.
They're very good at treating gunshots, so you look great for someone who shot himself in the face.
Thanks, mate. Also, I don't have any money for American healthcare. So I decided to avoid that in case I messed it up. So I got some Ubers around. Naturally, I went to Hollywood. Right.
Yes.
Which was absolutely freaking rammed.
Okay.
Would you believe? So I was on like the freaking Walk of Fame or whatever it is, where they got the stars on the ground, and obviously
They put you in the Walk of Fame.
Yeah, well, yeah, I was in. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's like, well, it's nice to know that all my years of service have been recognised. No, I was looking. I wanted to like get a picture of a star on the Walk of Fame or whatever it is. The first name I saw, would you believe me? Vin Diesel. How did you know that?
You sent me a message with it.
Oh, did I? Oh, shit. Okay. Well, I've totally. Oh, yeah. Okay. So I've blown that one. But that I was pretty happy after that.
After seeing Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I was like, that literally, I could not have seen a better name there, whatever. So I was like, no, that's it. It's not going to get any better than that, basically.
Hang on. How, like, is it a huge area and you have to go
it goes on for
them?
ages, and like it is swarming with people or whatever. So if you're wandering around with your head down like a muppet looking at all these names, it's not a very good look.
Surely
basically.
the strategy is to just go where all the people are standing around a star, and that's like the famous guy. That's like your Al Pacino or your Robert De Niro or your other Italian American actors.
Well, I saw somebody like paying homage to the Michael Jackson star or whatever and taking it very seriously. So, yeah, man.
How do you take a star very seriously?
You just touch it up a little bit.
Okay.
And then after that, there's quite a lot of shops in Hollywood. So I went to Hot Topic. Are you aware of this particular store?
I think I've heard the name.
Yeah, it's basically where you go to buy band t-shirts and like Weibo shit and like weird stuff like that. I wanted to see if I could get an insane Clown Posse t-shirt. I could not. I did see a very fetching Lisa Frank dress that had like a load of unicorns and rainbows on it. Unfortunately, I don't wear dresses. So yeah, and this wasn't a nice enough dress to get me into it. So yeah, I didn't bother. And I went to the Disney store as well. I saw a giant cuddly Stitch, but that was the best thing I saw. There wasn't really that much going on there, unfortunately.
Okay.
Then what else happened? Oh, I went to a Japanese garden as well because I wanted to chill out. Basically.
Okay. Yeah. I'd imagine after being so compressed by the attention-seeking signs and sights.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is not all in chronological order. I have to stress, I know that's very important because this is going to come up in court one day. I went to this Japanese garden and like you couldn't even walk in there. You had to like walk up the carpet and then they only took yeah, so I felt like, all right, prawn. And then they'd only take cash at the place. So then I had to walk back to a freaking ATM or whatever, 10 minutes away or whatever. Then back at all very boring. And so I went around this Japanese garden and it's kind of surreal because it's just like made in the desert. So it's all completely artificial, right? And it's on the side of this water reclamation facility. There's kind of like all these like pumps and weird shit like hidden behind all of these plants and stuff. And it's really weird. And it was next to this park where there were a bunch of like sort of Spanish families like having picnics and stuff. So there was this really loud like Mexican pop music playing or whatever as I was walking around this Japanese garden. So it was a real sort of cultural mishmash. And there was some nice brutalism in there, mate.
Oh, really?
And when I left,
Japanese garden.
well, yeah, it was part of this water reclamation facility or whatever it was. Yeah, so it's like, I was like, I'm digging this kind of fake Zen garden and brutalism vibe. And when I left, I saw there was a sign saying that this place had been used as a location in Star Trek: The Next Generation or whatever.
God.
And I was like, yes, mate, smashed it. Also, I went to the Bradbury building where Blade Runner was filmed.
Where Bradbury lives.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, I'm such a big fan. But yeah, and that place is beautiful, but all you can really do is stand on the ground floor and look up at it and gawp like a moron. The other thing that I did that was one of my favorite things was I went to Taco Bell finally, James.
I've always wanted to go there.
Mate, right, okay. I've heard bad things about it, which hasn't put me off. I went to the one that I could find with the highest star rating on Google Maps to make sure I got a good experience. And it was freaking amazing, mate.
What did you have?
Okay, so I got a deal which was like $6, which is just like, you know, a bit under between £5 and £6, I guess. You basically get 3 mains, right? You get a taco, like a Tex-Mex style crispy shell one or whatever. Some weird thing which was like a kind of more like puffy bread that tasted of like cheese or whatever, and there was a load of shit in there.
Okay.
And a sort of a beef and bean filled burrito or whatever. All of those were delicious. And, you know, they had fresh veg in and everything, so it really wasn't that bad. And you got a refillable drink. And you got, and this is the kind of like the last and least bit of it, but you got a dessert which was basically sort of like quavers but cinnamon flavoured instead. I couldn't finish those after the other stuff and everything. But yeah, absolutely incredible value. And and it was better than I could have imagined. So I definitely want some more Taco Bell. There's like 3 in the UK or something.
Are there?
But I don't even know if they're that good. And they're in places like Brighton and Thurrock, I think, or something. So
everything's always in Thurrock.
I know, man. Why does Thurrock always get the best deal? They've got the lakeside. I mean, Blue Water's in vaguely the same area. You know what I'm saying? So that was it. And I also got a bit of an insight into American culture, which is all about might being right and strength and the police and the military. It's slightly dystopian.
When
or
did you
whatever.
encounter the police and the military?
I didn't see them myself, but it's just from like stuff like seeing what's on TV, and also as you go into LAX, which is a nightmare, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 90 minutes to clear customs and another 90 minutes for my bus to turn up. Turns out, don't use public transport over there. But when I went into LAX, they have like a big, like, you know, a sign or whatever, and it's the American flag being held up by a bunch of people in like Navy uniforms and stuff or whatever.
Right.
And it's all about kind of like almost like deification of the military and stuff like that. Also, everyone's driving cars and there doesn't seem to be a lot of recycling. So it feels like slightly, I was like, oh God, I think the planet's going to end, guys. But, you know, maybe Bernie will get in the next election or whatever and it'll all be sick.
What's the title of the next thing, Tim?
Mega Drive sound chip in a plug-in?
Pull a face and do a YouTube thumbnail.
What's this? More!
Yeah, the Sega Mega Drive sound chip is now available as a plugin. Does that turn you on?
No, not really, mate, because Sega Mega Drive sounds are kind of like really basic FM. I've got FM8, mate, so if I want to do FM, that's not really a problem.
So
if someone
puts a NES sound chip in a plugin, you'd be happy. But if someone puts a more...
No, I don't want a NES thing. I don't want, like, you know, some basic wave shapes.
Well, let's not cover this then.
Oh, no, hey, mate, we're already talking about it, and I'm being hilarious, so I think we should carry on. I tell you what chip does interest me is... strap in, guys. You're about to be taken to Entertainment Central.
This is Tim Kent's chips I'd like to fuck.
Let me talk about video game sound chips. There's only one that I feel stands above all others.
Is it the Game Boy?
No, hell no. It's the Commodore 64 SID chip, baby,
of course.
which was capable of some amazing sounds. Let's not think about that right now. Oh, actually, this is actually available as a proper plugin. So let's have a little look at it, shall we?
It is a proper plugin, and some people might be interested in getting the classic sounds of the Mega Drive.
Hey, maybe you're not as cool as us. Maybe you want to make some Mega Drive noises. Ooh.
Like that.
No, that's not going to be a Mega Drive sound chip.
Iconic FM synthesizer.
This sounds nothing like a Mega Drive.
Emulation of the Yamaha YM2612 sound chip, best known for being the vibrant voice of the Sega Genesis video game console.
Oh, that sounds nothing like a Mega Drive.
Extension, the RIM26.
They accidentally emulated a Hammond B3.
Yeah, right.
AAX formats for Windows and macOS. At the heart of our plugin is a cycle.
It sounds pretty cool, but nothing like a Mega Drive.
It genuinely.
What noises do Mega Drives make, James?
I never had one.
Well, I'm sure you've played on some emulators. I'll tell you what they do. They go bong. And they make some sort of bell-esque sounds, presumably using some odd harmonics.
Straightforward user interface, it paves the way for exciting, one-of-a-kind FM sound design.
Yeah, it looks quite a lot like Operator, though, doesn't it?
One of a kind.
looks a lot. I think the Mega Drive one was, I think it's a Yamaha one. So it basically sounds like a DX7, basically.
On CP.
Which should turn you on a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I like that stuff. You know me.
Sorry I keep saying turn you on today.
Oh, I'm already very turned on.
Rimcast. That's
Rimcast.
Oh, okay. Now you've got my attention.
So this is a sidecar plugin called Rimcast. Can you imagine looking through your 12-year-old son's plugin list?
Oh, no.
Looking through his plugin folder. Sebastian, what is Rimcast?
Yeah. I'd be like, look, son, you've clearly got your hustle going. You're casting your rim all over the place. Good for you, buddy. Contribute some money to the rent. So it's on sale now for 25 euro clams or dollar clams.
Good clam rate.
Regular price 49 euro clams or dollar clams.
Good clam rate.
So yeah, worth checking out, I guess, if you're in. I mean, it really didn't sound like retro video games to me, but hey, what do I know?
Okay, so last time we were talking about the infamous saga of Katy Perry. You ever heard of her?
Oh, yeah. Okay, bring it back. Yeah.
Um,
I feel like we didn't do enough research beforehand to discuss it properly.
This is the thing. You were giving it to me like I'd not heard about it, and you were showing it to me on the episode. So, I had my good first reaction. It's fair enough. After that, I watched the Adam Neely video.
Yes.
And it's a good video. And Neely is always sort of on the side of the lowly musician and wants to basically...
Katy Perry in this case.
Yeah. He wants to
multi-millionaire Katy Perry, sure.
He definitely doesn't want to extend the scope of copyright. He's weighed in on a lot of things like that. He's often complained that he's he should be allowed to use things copyright free because he's apparently an educator, despite the fact that he's got a load of views and ends up advertising. But whatever.
It's a grey area.
The video was good, but then I watched another video and I realized what he had left out of that video was quite a salient bit of information about the track and the case.
Tell me.
So, yeah, you've got that synth line. It's kind of similar, kind of not similar. It depends how you look at it. I still don't think that synth line alone is worth, like, someone getting freaking copyright.
No, it's no way near similar enough, I don't think, for that.
It's not worth someone getting screwed over. But there are more similarities between the tracks, such as at the start of one, there's a rapper saying, "You'll know who it is."
Yeah, but...
And at the start of the other, there's a rapper saying, "You know who it is."
But you all do know who it is. Many hip-hop songs have that sort of shit at the start, mate.
I think the point is here, to me, at the moment, okay, if you got one element that sounds a bit like another thing, then you shouldn't get fucking thrown in prison and hanged. If you've got two elements that sound like another thing, then you're starting to get a bit holistic here. And it's starting to be like, oh, the whole product has multiple similarities. And I think when you have multiple similarities, having one compared to two, it's more like 1 squared compared to 2 squared. So having two similarities is way bigger than just twice.
Exponentially increases.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what I reckon. Like, there are two one incredibly similar element and another sort of synth attitude, which is a bit similar as well. Now, I'm not saying that, therefore, the copyright case should have gone the other way or that it was justified in going the way it was. I haven't listened to them enough to just give an opinion on the songs themselves, but certainly looking at a lot of the coverage that was made of it via YouTube and technically a little bit via us, some things were left out, and I think they are more similar. Now, even more important is our lovely Patreon supporters had a bit of a discussion about it as well.
Okay.
I think it's worth letting them weigh in on it.
Yeah, why not?
For example, Johan London said, "It's not good for music, but I have to say it's almost impossible the producers didn't import the Flame track and use it as a reference track."
Oh, mate. Got a reference.
He says as well, in combination with the intro vocal, it's pretty clear they used it as a reference. And Dr. Luke has been involved in other cases where he stole melody, lyrics, and music from the same song, all settled out of court. So, again, if you look at what the jury would have been presented with, they would have been like, listen to this entire song. Now listen to this other entire song. And they weren't just presented with one synth line and another synth line like you presented me with. They would have been presented with a whole case on... Look at a massive load of context.
I think the freaking Flame song sounds loads more like Mims than it does the Katy Perry tune or whatever. So I think it's just a bit fucking rich, basically.
He goes on to say, Jan, I'm all for borrowing and stealing, but you got to do it with finesse and make something your own.
I
agree with that. We can all agree with that, right? Yeah, you can agree with that.
Okay, I can agree with that. That's a fair point, Johan. But I would not. I'd heard the Katy Perry track before. If I'd heard the Flame track as well, I would not have thought, oh man, those are pretty similar. I wonder if there'll be a copyright case about this.
Okay.
I would have much more likely thought that about the Flame track and the Mims track. But whatever, basically. This is all, I guess, a bit subjective, I suppose.
And you've got one narrow perspective.
My perspective's not that narrow, mate. It's
Perspective
broad.
is well narrow.
Oh, man.
Also on Patreon, Michal says, in all the cases that have been in the public eye so far, I see how the original deserved credit. In the Robin Thicke case, I thought it was a blatant rip-off. Just like I did, Tim.
Oh, you guys are full of shit. Carry on.
Why shouldn't the original artists get credit? Is it okay to steal intellectual property?
Yes.
Huh, Tim?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, there you
It's brilliant.
When we recorded our No Scrubs remix last time, we really should have just put in some synth going whoop, boop,
Oh, God, no. Oh, no. Oh, man. Oh, God.
it just would have been perfect timing.
Oh, I really would.
Anyway, I don't think that Adam Neely's case that it's a massive problem for music is quite true, but I do think the trajectory is probably wrong. Like we were saying, it's going to be 3 companies who own all the intellectual property.
It's the fat end of the wedge, mate. Do you know?
But- Right. There are some people out there who seriously want to just remove all copyright law.
Yeah.
And it will be a radical difference, but it would be a system that technically works. Obviously works for some people, doesn't work for other people. But I've seriously been thinking about it. Obviously, I'm in no position to do it, and I'm not saying I think it's a good thing. I've just been thinking about it a lot. And
Cover your ass here, James. Come on.
you can see how it would work. So, like, look, you can copy anything with impunity, and all that matters is that you have intentionality behind it, and that's where the value comes from. But in that sort of anarchist copyright state, the companies wouldn't make any money out of that because they're devoid of creativity.
Well, you'd have to rethink your whole economic system, basically. And this is leading us into a much broader discussion where I talk about communism. And
also in that system, you could literally just copy and paste someone's thing and say you made it, promote it better, and make more money.
Okay, look, here's the thing. Let's get real, James. Don't tread on me, basically. I want to be able to sample.
Sorry, I'll sit down.
Yeah, please. Still, particularly that part of me. I want to just be able to sample what I want and make tunes and put them out in a very minor way without fucking people like hitting me up with copyright strikes, basically. Underground dance music is one of the few pure joys left in this fucking world, and one day it's going to be impossible to get your music out there if you're using samples, because some fucking Google drone will hover down at your window and shine an LED light in your face and arrest you. Yeah, that's the future we're heading towards.
We got a copyright, not strike, but I've started putting a few more podcast episodes on the YouTube channel, which of course are getting
futile.
0 views. But the one where we discussed blurred lines, we played it for 10 seconds.
And I was on its side as well.
Yeah, we played it for 10 or 12 seconds, and we got a copyright. I think it's copyright notice, which basically says if you monetize this, because of those 12 seconds, they're getting all the money.
We're not monetizing shit
from the 2 to 4 views that track has had. So, oh man, I guess maybe the law should be they will get AI sensors to determine who's stolen someone's thing. If you can play the game enough to beat those sensors, then you are deemed to have manipulated the thing enough. In order to get away with it.
No. Eventually they'll become too sophisticated anyway. And I just want to be able to sample stuff straight up without mucking about with it, because that is a big part of like what's cool about dance music, this culture, is this recycling of ideas and having them being reinterpreted in new ways and everything.
Tell that to a big record company.
Yeah. People really don't seem to like my arguments about copyright if they're involved in any kind of business. So yeah. But I think for the foreseeable future, the small guy, i.e. me, should be fine, basically.
That's a quite a sunny prognosis you've got there.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, Katy Perry is not, hurting for cash. So it's fine, really.
It's time for a plugin called Glassy.
Is this just going to be another sample playback thing, James?
Stay glassy, Tim.
I always do. I don't mind a glassy sound now and again.
Now, this is spectral modeling, apparently, not just another sample playback thing. But specifically, Tim, what sounds do you and I love the most?
What do we have a shared love of?
We have a shared love of pad sounds.
Oh, I love pad sounds, mate. Don't get me started.
You specifically love 90s electronic pad sounds, right?
I think I like digital pad sounds more than anyone else on the planet.
Well,
mate.
Glassy is a plugin that has recreated a shitload of them.
Oh, really? Well, it says here that it's a tribute to the 80s and 90s electric piano sounds. But that is equally in my wheelhouse.
Electric pianos include pads, my friend.
Oh, okay, wicked. Oh my God. Okay, I'm really excited. Can I listen to this demo?
Yes, you can.
Oh, that is nice.
Oh, nice.
It's so relaxing.
Oh, it's got soul, man.
It does. If only I could play keys.
Oh, makes me want to worship Jesus.
I know, well, I really do like gospel despite my secular nature. What else have we got here?
Oh,
do you know what? I can see myself using these sounds.
This is like early Fresh Prince of Bel-Air incidental
Yeah, man,
music.
that's when music technology was at its peak, mate, the early 90s. JV Whirly. I've blatantly already got this sound on one of my freaking JVs, but it just sounds really nice coming out of, being played by somebody with talent.
Oh, I could listen to this all hour.
Oh, I love a gospel chord progression, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's good stuff, man. How long does this video go on for? Oh my God, it's 5 minutes. Should we skip to the next sound?
Okay.
Sounds pretty similar.
Docs.
Oh, I love Docs, mate. That's fine. Let's have another one. Oh? No, we got to rewind on that one. Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Oh.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Do you know what, mate? I might have to check this out,
I knew you'd love it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Now you just need some keyboard skills.
Yeah, I know, man. Well, all I've got to do is learn piano for decades and decades. Oh, yeah.
Oh, and there's pad.
Where's the pad coming from? Oh, it's got a pad generator.
Hell yeah, it does.
Oh, brilliant. So what's this pad generator? All it's got is an attacker, release, cutoff, reso, and a volume. So it's, pretty bare bones, but it sure sounds good.
Sounds fucking amazing.
It sounds nice, man. Okay, let's have another one. Come on.
Oh. And those pads.
Yeah, come on, put more pads in it. Yeah, nice. Come on, give me some more. That is good stuff, my friend.
Oh.
I am pleased you found that.
I saw this and I thought of you.
Well, that is really... Oh, what? The introductory price has already gone or whatever.
Well, it's Sampleson Glassy, 29 US clams. Do you know what you can buy for 29 US clams?
I don't know.
A Waves plugin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. So it's putting in that Waves range.
You don't want to buy a Waves plugin. You want to buy this shit-hot electric piano plugin.
I really hate spending money, mate, but I do really like the look of this plugin. I might have to check it out, man.
I think you should.
Oh my God, there's more audio demos. Oh no, okay, they were the ones we just listened to. Okay, I'm going to give this a go, I reckon, buddy.
Staying on a 90s tip. Classic arcade games. How do you feel about those?
I ruddy love them, mate. Give me a bit of bubble bobble any day, mate.
Well, this is a MIDI controller with buttons and faders. And the buttons, Tim, what do they look like?
They look like buttons that you'd find on an arcade machine.
Oh, yeah.
The faders, though, you wouldn't find on an arcade machine. But hey, I guess you got to compromise, really.
Yeah, I guess there are no variable control voltages on arcades. So
no, but...
What do you want?
No,
Tim?
let me speak, James.
Oh,
this is very
God's
important.
sake, what do you want, a big throttle or something?
Yeah. Are you familiar with Street Fighter 1?
No, just Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, no one cares about Street Fighter 1 because it was a bit rubbish. But in the arcade, it had certain cabinets where instead of just pressing a button, you'd have a pad and you could punch it with various levels of velocity, one might say.
Shit.
So, yeah, so maybe they could have had some of those. Would have been a bit impractical or whatever. But yeah, please carry on, James. Just had to get that little fact in there.
Okay, fair enough. So this is surfaced on Reddit, basically.
Is this something that a human being has made for themselves?
Yes.
Or do they sell them?
This is from a Reddit user whose wife makes these. It's called.
Lucky bastards.
If you go on Instagram and look for Paradise MIDI,
Oh, look at that big red knob there.
yeah, exactly. You got to have a big red button.
Yeah. What happens when you press that button, James?
Well, whatever you set it to in your door, my friend.
that is insane.
So there are loads more sort of arcade style. I guess these are just MIDI things, or can they be used for other things? I don't care. I just care about MIDI. So
Yeah, that's all you care about, mate. You're very single-minded.
colourful arcade style buttons, which you can use as MIDI triggers, on the backing of lovely wooden enclosures.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would make... Like, because let's face it, arcade buttons are usually quite a lot nicer than the buttons that you'd get on your standard MIDI controller.
Well, they're designed to be fast.
Yeah.
Fast of use. You got some knobs on one of them as well. Eight buttons and 4 knobs. The one we were looking at before has sort of 18 faders, 18 buttons, and then a bank of 30 buttons. That's a lot of buttons. They'll sort of make one for you apparently if you want. I bet it's going to cost quite a lot though.
Yeah, I mean, handmade, bruv.
But man, you gotta love those arcade style buttons. You'll be bashing through your tracks like no one's business.
If you were going to get a custom MIDI controller made, what would it look like, James?
Well, if I was a fan of speed drum and bass, it would look a lot like an arcade style one.
Yeah.
What would mine look like? I have always liked the idea of those ones that you can piece together into your own custom system.
Like some kind of modular system.
Modular MIDI controller system.
Okay.
But
MMS.
Realistically, what do I need? I need... I don't know. I think partially I need a controller that has some computer functionality as well. So, something I could scroll through a transport with.
Oh my
something...
God. All right there, Lord Fauntleroy. What? Just, let's go realistic.
Because MIDI controllers can do transport functions as well.
Sure.
So play, pause, blah, blah, blah. I use the play button quite a lot when I'm making music. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah. I listen to a little, fraction of a second, think,
maybe,
God, this sounds awful.
Maybe
and then die.
Maybe a little scrub wheel.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you could have, a Missile Command or Marble Madness style trackball to...
Yeah, that would be great. I don't know what... I mean, realistically, I wouldn't use buttons for that much.
No.
I wouldn't use faders for that much because they're not endless. Endless knobs I could get with, but I don't know. I'm just not very tactile on the fly about when I make music.
It's all about mouse and keyboard, baby.
Yeah.
That's what I'm telling you.
It's more about programming elaborate setups.
Yeah.
That you have to go back to and tweak later. So
I like that.
It's not the kind of thing I can do by feel. I'm not a feeling person. I'm a robot.
I'm glad we've got that established.
I need to make music on the computer while eating nuts and bolts.
That's a very healthy robo diet you've got there. Fair play.
Well, at least they've got the nuts in there. Right, Tim, we are going to record this now, but it's not necessarily going to go into this episode.
Oh my God.
We're going to talk about Loop Cloud.
Oh, okay.
So we both do some work for Loop Masters. We say that right up front.
Disclaimer.
I was contacted this week to do the press release for Loop Cloud version 5.
Oh my God, already?
Yeah, already. They're very quick and very good. And we both use Loop Cloud quite a lot. It's really convenient. It's really good. But Loop Cloud 5, my friend,
It's really bad, and they've taken all of the features out.
no, it's really good. Loop Cloud 3 and 4 they were decent updates, but they pale in comparison
Oh,
to
really?
Loop Cloud 5. Mate, there is a lot of stuff going on now.
Really?
Okay, so the interface is completely changed.
Oh my god,
It's,
really?
It's had an overhaul, which wasn't really necessary, but fair enough.
Are we allowed to talk about this? No, we're not allowed to talk about it until it gets put out later. Sorry, you did explain.
I've got a load new features to lay down on you, and all
Ooh.
of these are going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that, but that's a great idea.
Well, we'll see about that, mate.
Okay, first of all, multi-track.
It's like a door now.
Well, it's not like a door, but you know how you use your Loop Cloud plugin and you search for some, let's say, your bass sounds?
Yeah.
You could load a second Loop Cloud plugin on a keys track and search for keys sounds in a different search bar in Loop Cloud.
Oh, I see.
So thereby you could say go for kick and bass and audition different ones together. It's nice, it's useful, it's good. There are now effects in Loop Cloud. There is reverb, distortion, delay, vinyl stopper, reverser, and panner.
And I guess that'll render that to the samples or whatever if you want to bring them out.
Yeah, I believe you can drag the original sample or the processed effects version.
That tends to be how Loop Cloud works.
I believe more effects are coming. 2 new plugin instruments.
What?
Huh?
It hasn't had plug-in instruments in the
What?
past.
Well, it's had a plugin which you can use to connect it to your DAW, but
Yeah.
these are plugin instruments.
How does this work?
Well, the first one is a drum machine.
What?
So you load the Loop Cloud drum machine plugin in your DAW, and it will automatically connect to Loop Cloud, and you've got a bunch of kits. You can drag samples. Well, you've got a lot of ready-made kits, 10 of which you get for free,
Okay.
and you can load it up, and it's got all the samples from Loop Cloud. And you can, I believe, I'm not sure if you can replace individual samples from Loop Cloud, but you can sort of audition different kits from Loop Cloud with the drum machine plugin open and Loop Cloud running, and audition the kits without buying them,
Sick.
or when you found one you like, having auditioned it in your project with all your other tracks and channels going, then you can buy it.
Yes, I feel like this is consumer friendly, so I'm on board with that.
It works. I'd never thought of it, but it works because it's another way to hook it up to the big ass sample cloud that you have running in the program. The other instrument is of a similar bent, but it deals with multi-samples.
Okay. Oh, wicked.
Multi-sampled instruments. So,
Well, that's something that I feel like I don't really go to Loop Cloud for, so it's good that they're putting that in.
So I think a lot of artists and labels have basically gone through their Loop Masters hosted stuff and turned a lot of their things into creative and cool new instruments, which you can audition because Loop Cloud is open with all the loops in it and they're free to audition. You can audition them in this multi-sampled instrument plugin in your project at sort of low quality, and then only when you want to pay for it with credits do you pay for it with credits.
That sounds pretty sensible.
It's sensible. I mean, it's a bit of a mouthful to explain, but no one ever really needs to explain it. You just use it and it's great. There is going to be a web-based version browser.
Oh, okay, right.
It's not going to have all the awesome functionality of being able to connect it to your DAW, of course. But you can browse for samples online and access basically the same stuff and search for tags and all stuff like that. Like a lot of the other sample companies do, where it's basically online, whereas Loop Cloud is its own application. But now Loop Cloud can be on the web as well.
Crazy. They're really going.
They're going
pedal to
all
the
in.
metal with
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Check this out. It's also got Dropbox style storage for your own samples.
So you can store your own library on the cloud.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what the limits are or whatever, but let's say you've got a relatively modest sample collection on your computer. You can just say, okay, I don't want to host this anymore on my important and sacred hard drive space.
I think you'd be crazy to not have it on your own hard drive.
I'm going to sync it to Loop Cloud and not have to carry it around with me anymore on the computer, and I can download it and audition it with all the other Loop Cloud samples whenever I want, and re-download the bits, just the ones that I need. And it'll be sort of it's Dropbox style syncing basically.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how much storage you get.
Well, this is the thing, mate, because my sample library is nearly 0.5 terabyte at this stage.
Well, I think here's one positive thing about it as well. That's I think a lot of people's samples will actually be Loopmaster's samples. Not all of them, of course, but if you do sync a bunch of your own samples into Loop Cloud, and it sort of analyzes them, tags them for you, a lot of those samples it will already have anyway because they're Loopmaster's samples, and it won't actually need to upload it. It'll just say, "Oh, I know that. I've already got
really?
it. I'll just add it
true?
to your collection." Well, if you've got Loopmaster's samples as part of your sample library,
right.
it should be able to recognize it and say, "Well, I don't need to add that. I don't need to upload it because I've already got it. So I'll just put it in your collection, and I know that it's yours." That's what I'm thinking. In theory, it works. Like, I'm not 100% on the
so
details
you're guessing,
here.
basically. You're
Yeah.
talking out of your ass. Okay.
But the headline is storage for your own samples,
Okay, yeah, wow.
which is really cool. That is most of it. There are a lot of little bits as well, but that's huge for yet another update that's only taken a few months.
Yeah, that's mad, man.
It's really going big.
What's the interface like?
The interface is interesting. It's a bit nicer. They've got new branding on it, which is fair enough. It's a bit easier to use. It didn't hugely need it, but it's nice to have it.
Sick.
I guess they kind of had to do that because they're using the same interface they had at Loop Cloud version 1, and now they've added a bunch more stuff to sort of cramp up the interface a bit, like all the chopping and sample editing and stuff. So it's worthy, especially if you're adding multi-track stuff in there. You sort of need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see what the interface looks like. I do feel like that was something that was lagging on behind on or whatever. I mean, it just wasn't as pretty as the Splice stuff.
No, but it functioned really well, and I like how the Loop Cloud plugin works, and I've got high hopes for these sort of drummer plugin and instrument plugins. And if they're sort of curated sets of sampled kits and sampled instruments, then that's really good. It'll be really nice to see how it works.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, the important thing here, looking at the big picture, is they do seem to be advancing their product a lot quicker than Splice.
Yeah, all the time, new updates and huge updates, especially this one. This is massive. And again, this isn't paid. We do work for them sometimes, and this is how I know about this. But this is genuinely a great thing, and that's why we're talking about it.
Well, this does sound like an advert, James, which I know you were very keen to avoid our show sounding like.
Yeah,
but
so
whatever.
as many disclaimers as possible. This is a really interesting thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's fair enough how you can use Loop Cloud. Like, you can use your own sample library in Loop Cloud anyway. So you could do quite a lot of stuff in it free, and they give you some kits and everything. So I don't feel like it's a cynical money grab.
No, it's only ever making it like better and more versatile.
Well, this is the thing. I really do feel like that the future is making stuff just like a nicer experience for the consumer, and not like trying to give them the hard sell and trying to rinse loads of cash out of them all the time. So I think, this does feel like a decent direction for them to go in.
No, I think it is moving a bit more towards subscription option side of things. There is definitely Loop Cloud Lite. And by the way, I haven't said any of this because it's not fully 100% decided. But there are different tiers of subscriptions that give you different credits.
There is actually a subscription now.
Yeah, I believe you can dip in and out of that on the different tiers, and you can stay on the free Loop Cloud Lite, and I'm not entirely sure how it works. That's why I haven't said much about it. The pricing that I've seen, which is just sort of in advance indicative pricing, seems pretty fair. But anything could change at this point because as we're recording this, it's not released, but we're going to put it in a later episode. But I sort of wanted to say I knew about this ahead of time. And so we're talking about it while no one else knows about it but just me.
Okay.
But we're going to publish it when everyone else knows about it. Anywho.
Sick.
They really are, shall we say, mobile, you know?
When are Splice going to strike back?
I don't know if they will. Splice got a lot of sort of corporate money behind them, and I mean, Splice have got the whole rent to buy plugins thing, rent to own stuff, which is
that's
very
people
strong.
seem to love that shit, man, and fair play to them.
What can you get on that now? You can get
Loads of stuff, like
you get
Isotope.
Studio One on it, Isotope stuff on it.
There was some. I've seen them. They've added some other new stuff recently or whatever. I can't remember. What it is.
Arturia V collection.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if that's on the rent to own, but you can buy it through it. Softtube is starting to come up on there now as well, and of course you can get Serum. It's all good stuff, but yeah, really, I guess in the battle of the big ass sample brands, the real beneficiary is the consumer. I was going to say you and me, as in
Cha-ching!
because they pay us to make promotional videos. But what I mean is the consumer.
The consumer's doing great. Give us the money.
Oh God, I feel like a shill.
You are Dr. Shillington. Congratulations. Well, it's I mean, to be honest, mate, I'm still butthurt that Loop Masters took their samples out of Splice. Because back in the day, I could just go to one place for all my goodies, and now I have to go to two places.
Well, now you can see why.
Well, yes. I mean, the thing is, this does feel like the whole Netflix thing, where there used to be only one game in town, and now you have to, if you really want everything, you have to subscribe to a load of different things.
Well, I don't think there ever was one game in town. I mean, yeah, I guess talking about
back
Splice
in the day,
hosting
Netflix was like it was really.
Well, yeah, I'm talking about samples, not about films.
I know this is an analogy, James. Okay, do you understand what that is? So anyway, we'll see what happens. Exciting times.
Yeah, exactly. I encourage everyone to check it out at least to know.
I bet
how it
you
works.
do. Fat check in your pocket from Loop Masters there, I see.
I didn't want to mix business and pleasure, but you made me. Okay, a number of episodes ago, I don't know how many episodes, we talked about how Spotify were going to start letting people upload to Spotify and get their royalties from them.
Consternation.
That was sort of a beta service at the time, I think. It was called Spotify for Artists. And I found out that they have stopped it.
Shock!
Yeah. So, what the hell, Spotify? It seems like, apparently, straight after doing that, Spotify bought a bit of the company DistroKid, who
renowned distribution service.
Yeah, you pay them to distribute your stuff to many platforms, including Spotify. So I don't know if they were going to take a bit of DistroKid's infrastructure and use it for themselves or what, but now maybe they're just saying, well, we're just going to send people to DistroKid instead of coming directly to us.
Yeah, vertical integration, make that money.
So yeah, they've basically reversed this decision and they are closing their upload program. They're keeping the music that was uploaded, but they're not going to do any more. This is, I don't know if this is a kick in the pants or
no.
what.
I think they made the right decision.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we need more barriers to people putting music online, not less, basically. Certainly on my nice, clean Spotify. I like Spotify as a walled garden.
Okay, I can see why. And I can imagine that a lot of people would have put up stuff that's just has no copyright screening whatsoever, and they've just put a load of, risque stuff. And then Spotify is held responsible for that in many ways, especially thanks to Article 13.
Oh my God, okay, serious
Anyway,
business.
Gloss over Article 13 for a second, but it could have been part of the reason. You think it's a good thing?
Yeah, I mean,
you don't want to just be listening to Spotify and come up against a bunch of crap.
Like, let's make making music a serious business, and you've got to, really. You've got to be prepared to put your money where your mouth is if you want other people to have to suffer through your music, I think, basically. Well, like, there's always SoundCloud if you just want to put whatever old stuff up there,
When would you accidentally come across the democratized shite?
I didn't, and I'm thankful for that, and I want to make sure I never do.
But when would you? When would it accidentally be given to you?
I don't know, in your recommendations or something, or the radio or whatever.
That's the thing. They could have everyone upload all their stuff, but the walled garden that you want could be anything that's just given to you without you searching it out.
Oh, no.
No?
No.
You're just drawing a hard border on your
exactly.
garden.
I've got a backstop, mate, and it's no random shit on Spotify, I think.
Okay, fair enough. I mean,
And also, put it on Bandcamp. Do you know what I mean? If,
not everyone listens on Bandcamp.
Well, exactly, mate.
As an artist, you want to be able to say, hey, click this thing,
Yeah, I
and
guess.
it will open in Spotify, which you're listening to anyway.
Oh, let's just keep the crap off the internet, guys. Seriously. I'm not uploading my crap music. I don't see why anyone else should, basically. That's my position, James. And I'm sticking with it.
Tim, Waves make plugins, right?
They sure do, buddy.
Not anymore.
$29.
Not anymore.
Oh.
Because now Waves have moved into big publishing and are releasing a book.
Oh, is it a romance novel about a man who uses all legit plugins and gets amazing mixes?
No, it is called Your Mix Sucks.
Oh, thanks.
And it
Well,
is by producer and engineer Mark Mozart.
Mozart. What does Mozart know about music, mate?
I
That's
think
what I want to know.
He must have been the childhood prodigy of mix engineering.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a book about mixing by this dude, and Waves have brought it out. One downside, among others, it is an ebook.
Oh, well, I mean, admittedly, all the books I read are ebooks. I wouldn't really read a physical book, but I can understand that a physical book has a certain cachet to it.
Now, apparently, it gives a complete methodology of mixing, covering technical, artistic, and personal aspects of the process. Can you guess how much this is going to cost?
I've already seen, unfortunately.
How much?
Well, it's 49 clamaroos, but is it on sale, James?
Well, no, surely not. Waves wouldn't put anything on sale, would they? A digital good?
Apparently it is. And
Oh, hang on. Let me see if I can work out the
can you
sale
guess
price.
how much it costs?
How much could the Waves sale price be?
Have a little guess.
Carry the 4, add that, plus, minus, take the differential, factorial of 5, exponential to the power of 9.5.
You are taking a long time to work this out. This is intense.
That brings us to about 87. If you divide 87 by 3, you get $29.
That is absolutely right, James. I am incredibly impressed at your savant-style brain work there. That is good stuff, man.
Where's my robotic brain, really?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So would you read Your Mix Sucks?
Well, if it was a book, a physical
A
book,
physical book?
I would flick through it
Okay.
if you bought it.
I'm
But
not going to buy it.
This is an ebook. And I think, although in some world you could say an ebook should cost the same as an actual book, I'm not paying 29 clams for an ebook.
It's on the expensive side.
I mean, I used to work for magazines, Tim. as
Oh,
did
God,
you.
yeah.
And digital version, it's never as good.
Like, the thing is, it does seem it's weird it's not an actual book because you still think of Waves as like a kind of premium brand. Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you?
I do. Maybe
Okay.
they've suckered me or whatever.
I've sort of come at Waves thinking they sell plugins for $29, but call me crazy.
I think that's just savvy business sense in this day and age, mate. So yeah, we'll have to see. I do notice from the blurb that this dude has mixed some DMX records. So yeah, I mean, fair enough.
Well, it's fair of him to say your mix sucks.
Yeah, I guess he knows how his way around to mix or whatever. But I think it's pretty presumptuous for him to assume my mix sucks. I never get the tunes to the stage where I mix them. So
Yeah.
joke's on you, Mark Mozart.
That is the new book from Waves, Your Mix Sucks, 29 clams. All right, that is enough for this particular fortnight.
Thank goodness, mate. It's been a very draining time for everyone involved, I imagine.
Of course, just to remind you at the end, if you want to donate to this lovely podcast, which we put so much effort into, you can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/A4P podcast, and donate whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, give us crazy money.
This outro music is from one of our lovely patrons, Sumerki, which I believe is a collab between Sumerki and Keeper. You can find this song in the show notes or at soundcloud.com/Sumerki-project. I'll link to it everywhere. I really like it. I chose it out of all of his stuff. It is called Snow Day. Enjoy.